Hi, I'm talking with Deborah Halverson, editor and author, and her newest book, Writing New Adult Fiction from Writer's Digest Books. So we're speaking about writing for new adults, and one of the sort of cornerstones of this particular genre is that there is a lot more romance and sex than there is in young adult fiction. So Deborah, do you have any great tips for us on how to write romance and sex?
I get the question a lot. It's probably one of the first questions I get when I talk about new adult fiction. Are sex scenes a must? And is that what distinguishes it from young adult fiction? And there certainly is more of an expectation for explicit sex scenes in the new adult fiction because a lot of the books that first hit the market in 2012 or hit the scene and awareness of everyone had some explicit sex scenes in there. And readers enjoyed, and writers even enjoyed the freedom of being able to write those kinds of scenes for 18, 19, 20-year-olds that they couldn't do in young adult fiction because of the restrictions that we know that go along with that. And we know that young people do have sex, So it's fun to explore how that now influences their relationships. But then many people say, well, do I have to do it? I want to write about this time of life. What if I'm not comfortable writing that? And what if I don't want to read it? And there's a sort of, it's a must, but not really at the moment. We're kind of entering a second phase in adult fiction where it's become established. And now readers are asking for more different storylines, really pushing the literature to explore things. And so we don't necessarily have to have the sex scenes. We just want a satisfying emotional relationship that we can really get into and get excited about. And so writers ask me, well, how can I create that feeling if I'm not writing the explicit material? And I've always said that a real satisfying love scene is because of everything you've done to build up to it. It's the anticipation you've created as an author. Much as you build up to the climax of your novel, you create anticipation about this couple coming together. It's a very important exploration for young people at this time of life to find out what they want from a relationship. They're looking for a meaningful relationship, not necessarily Mr. or Mrs. Right, but they're also trying to figure out, who am I in this relationship? What do I want from a relationship? So there may be a few times they fall in and out of very meaningful love, and so that's what we want to tap into. So I can give you 5 ways that I encourage people to develop that emotional anticipation for the scene, and then get that satisfaction that everyone wants from the relationship. And one is to continually attack the relationship. That means using the plot to bring your characters together, but then ripping them apart. So with any romance, you bring them together and then pull them apart and make it hard until, of course, the end, when you're going to let them be together. One thing you can do is you can let them do it. But then forbid it. What happens when you let them do it? You're a manipulative author. You now keep them apart. Only now they can fantasize about being together so that they can build up the next moment. They can be across the room and see each other there, and they're now anticipating this getting together again. So you can have the things that keep them apart be outside factors, such as the roommate coming in as you're getting close to that moment. It can be, you can let them do it and have them blow it where, say, a character, they have their night together and they wake up in the morning, the girl thinks everything's going to be better, all these issues she had, whatever, she wakes up and it's not. And so maybe she runs and now the guy's chasing her. So you can have them pull back themselves. And so the readers are worried about them now and watching them deal with that. Maybe the boy is then hurt or mad as a result, or maybe the roles are switched. And the big thing that I like to focus on when we talk about writing the scenes is focus on the sensuality of it, the setting factors. We can easily talk about their ripped abs and their hard muscles and all of that, but we've read that before. How about the way the light coming in the room bends around that body? The other elements in the room. Kelly York has a book called Hushed, where her character is looking at a man who is standing in the sunlight, and the sun is streaming in and seeming to bend around his body. It's as though it's about the man's presence in that room, rather than the physical features. He feels very powerful and present and sensual because the very earth and nature has to bend around his body. So it's an incredibly sensual scene. So by the time they start kissing, another couple of scenes away, you have a strong sense of this person's body without ever having to describe the strong fingers and hands. So I like to encourage them to focus on the other things, the other elements that are available to them in the setting. And then finally, you can build up anticipation by timing your I love yous for the right moment. We know they're going to end up together. So it's about building romantic tension without letting them say it until they feel you've gone through enough of the emotional journey that they can do it. If you mistime it, it's on purpose because you want someone to get hurt and feel the mistiming. So if you're moving through these different things, you're continually attacking it, you're keeping them apart when they want to be together, you're letting them run themselves and feel the scariness of what they just did, the emotional scariness. And then you're focusing on the sensuality. By the time you get to the scene, it's not about describing, tab A, slot B. It's about this entire moment that you've built up. And then it's a satisfying love scene. And you may not necessarily have to be graphic anymore. So you can find the level that's right for you as a writer.
Those are wonderful tips. And as you were talking, I was thinking how a lot of these tips can be modified somewhat for young adult romance. That anticipation and describing things with the setting and that sort of thing, as opposed to getting very explicit and graphic, I think can work also very well with young adult books.
It is. You can almost slide in and just mention that it happened to a certain degree, or it happened off scene. You're right.
Great. Well, Deborah, thank you so much. These are wonderful tips, and our readers and our listeners are going to appreciate them very much. So thank you again for your time. And Writing New Adult Fiction by Deborah Halverson from Writer's Digest Books. Everyone should buy it. Thank you.